Good morning. Give me a sec here, guys. Okay. Well, we've got this pretty amazing, this big red topping tail. Totally, no, I wouldn't say totally ignored. There was a dip down to the support there and the reversal back up yesterday. And when the futures reopened, well, it wasn't evening. It was around 6 o'clock or whatever. They gapped up. Not too often you see gaps like this in the futures. Um, so that reversal, and then must have been a lot of buying there to gap it up, and it held the gap, right? Rather than coming in overnight and filling that. So buyers weren't aggressive enough to push it up through the prior high, but you would think that with this kind of price action and a failed topping tail, a giant red topping tail that went deep into the prior candle body being ignored, that it shouldn't take much to push up through that. You can see on the 60-minute, it's gotten through the high of the topping tail. And what a drop and recovery, just buyers just stepping up again at the next support level and just driving it back up as they did. And it reinforces, the concept of what we call the void. And so this is a powerful move and it can't be ignored. You can't assume that this is what's going to happen because historically it doesn't. But it is the weakest part of the chart, meaning if something like this begins to fail, you're going to have a violent reaction like what we saw here because this is so bearish. Historically, it says prices are going to go lower, and they did a small amount, but then sprung right back up again. So crazy kind of market. And, what can we do? That's what we have to deal with now. So prices are coming in here a little bit. Overall, we've seen the markets have been in a trading range for it started here with the wide range bar up and then down. This didn't follow through. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, going on 7 weeks within a trading range. And so now, unless this is going to turn into an M top, and there's nothing to suggest that's going to happen, especially with this kind of bullish pattern going on here, you would think this is going back up to 3,400. So we'll see how it handles this today. Step by step as always. Prior bars low is always our first reference point of support, no matter what we're looking at. So there it is. And for sure, none of us need any other information other than to know that if prices were down here at the end of the day, something's wrong and they're not supposed to. So we'll see where this ends up. So far, it's holding on to the gain, pushed up here a little bit, coming down a little bit. So look at the 5-minute, look at the 15-minute. You can see the breakout. And, this kind of a move and a breakout like that, typically not a high odds scenario, especially, after a run like that. So no surprise that it came back in. But, if you're nimble, that's a setup for nimble traders to try and take advantage of. Put yourself in the pattern. We always talk about patterns as being a reflection of what people think and what they're doing, which is what they are. So if you put yourself in the pattern, so to speak, as if, well, what if I bought that breakout and it did this? What would you do? Well, same thing these people are doing. They're getting the hell out, right? Because this is a leveraged instrument. And with the breakout, your expectation is, well, it's going to go up, keep going higher. And when it failed, they just get out of positions and it pushes it down. And then we'll see now if it breaks the prior lows step by step. Nasdaq. Here's where it really gets interesting. So we've got the S&P there doing what it's doing. Completely different pattern. Most of the time, the markets are relatively similar, not exact, but similar in their trends and, the chart setups. So here, this was the leader. And historically, this is a pattern that does result in a pullback. And so this was this violent reversal the other day, and this did not recover as the S&P did, which is not unusual because this whole theme, what we started at the beginning of the week and what I wrote in the newsletter, um, about the concept of bringing up the rear. And well, what does that mean? That means the laggards play catch up and the leaders take a rest. um, you know some call this rotation. You can call things different names, right? But the concept here is, hey, everybody that jumped on board here, realizes they've got substantial gains. If they're looking at a chart, they see things, getting a little extended. Prices gap up as they did. You don't see it here, and they ran up, and it's a no-brainer to sell. And take some partial profits. And then, the whole thing began to feed on itself. And then the same thing, the breakdown, failure, and now this recovery. So looking at this whole idea of playing catch up, well, you already saw what the S&Ps look like. So from the point of view of trading these particular instruments, assuming that the market is going to hold on to its gain today, and the market, as I like to call him, over the last year or so, Mr. Schizophrenic, we'll just see what the mood is in a little while. But the whole catch-up scenario can be played out from a longer term, higher time frame perspective, like the daily, weekly time frames where this made its run, and also from an intraday point of view. So this is not participated as the S&P did, and the S&P is up near price resistance. Whereas if this can take out these highs here, this is going to have a greater opportunity for long trades today. So that's what I'll be looking at to see if the NQs here can play some catch up from an intraday basis, whereas this whole concept of this big collapse and creating a void, it would be a bit out of the ordinary historically, but to see this retrace all the way back up into the near the high of this topping tail, who are we to argue with what is happening in the moment? So getting above here suggests to me it's going to keep going up. And so, again, we'll see how everything plays out. That's what we do every day. Dow futures, right, they were leading yesterday. They were the better setup. And so here they are in, resistance area. So it's not so, it's really way up here, but somewhere inside of here, I can spread this back far enough to just see. And I always wonder, I always get the question, well, Greg, how far back do I look? Well, you look far enough back until you see something, but the further back you look, well, the less potent, so to speak, it's going to be as a reference point. So I'm just going to go to a 90-minute chart. Nothing special about it. I'm just going to condense the information, maybe be able to spread it out a little bit. And you get a little clearer view of the price resistance area. So I can see this topping tail right there. I'll spread that out a little. So you can see it's a whole area. You really don't know where it's going to stop. Could be that topping tail. You just don't know. Anyway, so this is a little extended. It pushed up yesterday. It's getting close to that resistance. It's got room to go. So any pullbacks, consolidations, this pattern suggests it's going up there. And potentially after this consolidation, new all-time highs. Why not? It's had the correction. If you remember, this is the exact bar where we got the sell signal from our internals. And we've had all of this period of correction where it went sideways. So corrections are usually associated with prices going down. Well, they did go down, and percentage-wise, they went down a decent amount, and then they corrected through time. And last week, I think it was on Friday in the room, I spoke about this pattern potentially playing out, because it's been whippy and a retest, and then this higher low. And I was like, well, maybe this is just going to work its way higher. And obviously it did. And of course, Mr. Schizo here threw that in the mix in that big sell-off day. And then things come back as they did yesterday, right? Yes, we'll get to SPX. Be patient. Be patient. And here, Jake is already putting them there. Well, you guys on YouTube interested in SPX, you really should get a trial to the green room, because we got some great traders in here that do this all the time. And let me clear that up. There's my screen. And of course, then you're not on your own during the day. Some of you, maybe no problem being on your own. But when things go wrong, you get pretty hairy with those SPX credit spreads. All right. So let me go back to the futures here for a second. All right. So prior high. You know, I'm not so sure the put side is a no-brainer today. Let's see. Look, credit spreads are all about getting away from what I call the danger zone. All right. So yesterday's low should be a no-brainer. Right. A spread down here, and let's look at the numbers that they gave. 3180. That's close. So you know that's the problem with spreads. It's like, well, the further you are away from the danger zone and the no-brainer trade, the less premium there's going to be. And options with Dan. Oh, there's a nice comment from Ken. Thank you, Ken. So 3180. I would not personally do 3180. You know, there's no support here. Near resistance, I think that is too close for comfort for me. Anyway, Jake, I'm not that aggressive or brave. Let's put it that way. So I don't know. If this gaps up and runs higher into 10 o'clock or 10:30, there'll be premiums on the call side. And then if we see some kind of breakout failure, we can consider that. Right? 3280. Yeah. 3280. If there's premium there, that would make sense. All right, let's continue so I can get Dan on here to cover opens. Russell, bring up the rear. All right. It's right at that resistance area there. So it's stalled for the moment. We'll see what it does. But this could be the go-to place to be if this can get through this area here and this whole catch-up or rotation idea plays out. You got to keep an eye on the regionals, which have not been participating here. But if they can turn around, they're trading here $37. So they're up here a little bit. So maybe if these can actually keep going, and biotechs, which look okay, we'll see if they keep going there at 117. So, wow, they're gapping up pretty big. All right, so we'll see. Maybe the Russell can keep going there. Bonds down a little bit. Ain't no big deal. You know, they were looking like they were heading higher there yesterday, and they backed off. Oil still doing absolutely nothing. Gold just in the wings waiting, still bullish. And silver is marching up ahead, bringing up the rear. And what are our transports doing here? Looking good, ready to bring up the rear. So there you have it. Intraday here, as far as the futures go, I think market strong. We go with the NQs. As far as stocks and different indices like this, the weaker is bringing up the rear. Should be the place to go. All yours, Dan.
All right, good morning. I mean, we texted out last night a huge bullish watch list, and that's why I don't like gaps like this, because it messes up the entry on them. Because the normal entry would have been just been over prior day's high, or whatever the setup was, and now they're all gapping over it. Like here was one, Len over yesterday's high, beautiful inverse head and shoulders breakout. Now it's gapping up, $2. So that's frustrating, but it is what it is, as we always say. Let's take a look at opens first. Weekly options trader, AON, put spread looks great. On Daku, we did a call spread yesterday and it's gapping down, so that's a beautiful thing. That's not participating. The call spreads that I'm interested in doing, and I was nervous last night when I saw the market up. I'm like, oh no, I hope we don't get run over on these. But it's the recipe that I've been following. Biggest ugly red bar in the entire advance from March, with a climactic sell set up on the weekly and nasty engulfing. Look at this vertical move. 60 bucks to 220. That is craziness. So these are the ones, and particularly with the Qs weaker, that I want to focus on call spreads. And I actually have Etsy here is another candidate I'm watching to do that. But continuing with opens, IYT put spread, it looks fantastic. Lima Bravo, we have a put spread, looks great. Nike's our only iffy one here. We did a call spread over the 99s and it's gapping up to low 98s. So we're still in it, but it's a big gap against us. We'll see. Piton, another one, met our recipe. Biggest red bar, climactic weekly. We have a call spread gapping down. That's a good thing. VXX also gapping down against us. We sold a put spread in the 31s, so it's still over $1 away. And right when the market started strengthening, and what I was thinking also last night when the market was breaking out here into the close, and then what made the futures jump was the Monera positive results, mRNA. And so that's my opinion is what got the market rocking. And I wonder if some of that was leaked because the timing of the news release was either during or it was during when futures were shut down for their 15-minute little period. Isn't that strange timing? Yeah, no, because they did have an afternoon breakout there into the close. I was hoping that we were just going to sputter into the close, and then I said yesterday then we if we open flat, then we could trade either direction over the day's high, up, under pivot, down. And here we go with the big old gap. All right, that's it. Ozuo, we have a call spread, but we already have that locked in and a gain. AV, I'll just go through these quick. This, we're short stock. BKI, short stock with a break even. No, we have a very tight. Actually, looking at my notes right here, that one did stop out into the close at a profit. So that we are out of that one. I'm actually happy about that because now we don't have any gap risk. So I just closed that one. Here we have a put spread, looks great. Beyond short naked calls, and we already covered half. IAG, little gold stock, we're still long. Mattel, long. Index, long. And I said try to sell half here. I set at 127.68, so there's a print at 127, so that should be filled. NEP. We're long stock. We sold a third yesterday just to book some nice intraday gains. SMG, I said sell half pre-market at 145. We're long stock. Nice 1, 2, 3. We'll talk about that today in MT Live. And finally, space. It's whipping around, but we got a way out of the money put spread down here with 14s. So that's it. So I think Nike's the only one could turn into a problem. Everything else looks fine. Lorena's asking about Boeing. 185. Where's 185? It's coming in. It's a possible put spread candidate. I was actually looking at that 2 days ago, and then it closed weak. XOM gapping up. There's no great price void. I mean, compare that. I have so many beautiful longs. I texted them to people, and we'll be going through them. I just much rather have Len than XOM. Same with Slob. There's no great price void. Jake Algen, nice wide range bar igniting yesterday, and with a beautiful 15. That's a continuation pattern. You got to give it a big stop, Jake, but it looks great. Steve Ford, yep, that was on my long list yesterday. That looks higher. You know, it's gapping up to 655. 675 would have been my target, 675 to 7. So yesterday was your ideal entry. GE, that dog. It is a double, it's a double bottom, maybe. Maybe. Could this be the low in this dog? I don't know. Steven, your drop down? Oh, you got it. PGR. Yep, that's a wide range igniting, but now it's gapping up, so there's no good entry. And that's insurance. I like Met is on my long list. You know, weaker than PGR, but it's closer to the basement floor. Norma, Microsoft, maybe day trade. It also had this big ugly red bar that you're swimming upstream into. But as Greg said, pre-market, you know, if the Nasdaq maybe can take out a 30-minute high and has a price void, then there should be some day trade long opportunities. In fact, I just like Qs better than Microsoft. It's just cleaner to me in terms of a day trade void. Hallow, yep, it's gapping up. You know, it's a bull flag on the daily. So it's nice. It's a gap from a bull flag. So it's a nice pattern. It's just getting on board. Where's your stop going to be? I'm not doing anything here at the open with these big gaps. Let's see. YouTube is asking about JRJC. Yeah, that's on my list right here. So let's continue now with my gappers. And earnings, very, very sloppy pattern, and it's extended pre-market. So to us, there's absolutely nothing to do with that. There's that Marina gapping up. I can't chase that. Here are the earnings stocks. Wow, Bravo Kilo got whacked there pre-market. They must have said something in their conference. So I got no interest in that. Now here's Goldman, had a beautiful close. You know, we sold puts on the XLF and we actually took profits yesterday. Closed them at 6 cents, but the XLF, you know, in this gap up, that was a beautiful pattern. You're chasing now, so I got no interest. OMC, gapping up 56, but that's a big garbage can. PNC, no price void, don't like the price action. PGR, we talked about that already, it looks great. UNH was up, now it's down. 302. We'll keep an eye on that for a call, a bear call spread. USB 38. This is a 30-minute high candidate. We'll come back to that, or a put spread. Beezer, another bullish housing stock. Zebra. These are not earnings. This is just into my bullish watch list now. Bullish engulfing here on Zebra. Looks like a directional and a put spread. On Golf Tango, we're already in this, Jason. We're in Golf Tango, but gapping up looks good. Yeah, looks fantastic. I actually said as a core trade, I like that. Ludwig CAG over the high. Yeah, over the high, provided it's not gapping. But even if it is, let's say it does trigger over the high. If the market's coming in, Ludwig, because of the huge gap up, and it is coming in pre-market right now, then I'm not going to buy it. I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait till the market stabilizes and then reassess. Yeah, Home Depot had a beautiful close. Low, we have a put spread. Looks great. Let me just look at PAG here. Looks fantastic. Bullish engulfing, breaking out, a little downside shakeout. So that definitely looks good. Lima, we'll keep an eye on a pullback. Cree, nice bullish engulfing. DHI, see that would have been another beautiful trade over yesterday's high, but it's gapping up $2. That and Len both look really good. Cone, and I would say that's an ideal 30-minute high. Ludwig, you know, it's kind of extended here, gapping up far from the 20, but 30-minute high, I like. With Fizzler moving yesterday, I noticed SPWR, same sector. Look at that afternoon breakout. Let's keep an eye on that. And also the beat up sectors I saw were all gapping up today. So the cruise lines, airlines, restaurants. So things are selling off a little bit more here. So we're totally sidelined. I already adjusted a few things. But so restaurants, leisure, hospitality. Let's keep an eye on that sector. But this EL looks fantastic. Looks great. And this